It has been snowing for the last 3 days nonstop here in Washington, D.C. metro area, where my wife and I have our sticks and bricks, and we have been pretty much cooped up inside the house, not being able to go anywhere. I mean, it wasn't bad enough that COVID-19 had limited us like never before. Now we have 3 days of snow on top of it, which even, it feels like you're being limited even more. But, I love the snow, and, I've always wanted to do, winter campings every chance I get. So, I said today, what the hell, let's go, take the camper out and find a place to camp and, make some great food and, have a nice bonfire. I think it will be very nice and peaceful, and it will be a nice little change of environment since I've been at home for the last several days. The food truck hasn't been working. My restaurant has been very, very slow. So I think it's time to go out there and camp. Getting ready to get hitched up and head to our campsite. I can't let this RV just sit here in the storage, man. So yeah, we're about to head out. The pressure on the tires are low. I gotta put some air in those. I am all hitched up. Just gotta put the sway bars on there and head out. All right, guys, we're all hooked up and getting ready to head to our campground. And unfortunately, I had to cancel my original plans to Shenandoah National Park due to inclement weather and icy road conditions. The access road that takes you to all the campgrounds in that region, known as Skyline Drive, which is a beautiful drive, by the way, it's closed down because it's just not safe to drive. So therefore, I wouldn't have any access to any of the campgrounds there. So therefore, we actually settled for a local campground that's right outside of Washington, D.C., like about 7 to 10 miles from where we live, from our sticks and bricks. And this is Bull Run Regional Park again. And it's actually located on a historic Civil War era battlefield. And so it has a lot of history to it. But again, I've been there so many times, so I was ready for a new spot to camp in today, but unfortunately I had to settle for this. But we're still gonna make an amazing video showing you guys how to make my black bean and beef stew, and also show you guys a little bit of the park, and so you guys can get a feel for the campgrounds in this region. All right, so we are just arriving at the Bull Run Regional Park and heading in to the campground. We're gonna start setting up. But as I mentioned earlier, this is a beautiful area. It's heavily wooded, and for a location to be, for a location to offer this much natural beauty right outside of Washington, D.C., it's actually a good thing, because this area is pretty congested, and you can get really overwhelmed with the fast-paced lifestyle that people have here in the Washington, D.C. metro area. So this is the site, covered in snow, which is fine because I do have off-roading tires on the trailer and on the pickup truck, so I shouldn't have a problem pulling in here. But this is it, nice and peaceful. Not a whole lot of campers out there. It's just going to be us, which is going to be fantastic. So because the whole campsite was covered in snow, I wanted to make sure that I was kind of making somewhat of a path for the trailer and for the truck, so that way if I were to go back and forth, I wouldn't get stuck. So I pretty much went forward several times, came back, did a reverse several times in a different pattern, just so these tire marks will create somewhat of a grip for the tires. So later on, if I want, once I'm ready to leave the campsite, I'm not gonna get stuck. So this will really help eliminating your tires from being stuck in a mud and just keep spinning without making any moves. All right, so now that we are pretty much inside the campsite, we just got to set up the trailer and get the fire going over there and start cooking and really enjoy ourselves. This is a beautiful place to be in right now. It's very quiet, very peaceful. Everything is covered in snow. It's just my type of thing. Love it. So if you guys have been following our YouTube channel, you know that last week I was out camping and my freshwater tank and the freshwater lines all froze because temperatures went down to 20 degrees in the middle of the night. So I had to go through this whole process of thawing out the tank, the lines, which is actually in one of our last videos. So if you're interested in how to unfreeze your tanks and your water lines, you can go ahead and refer to that video, and you know, it will show you a couple of easy steps on how you can achieve that. But since I don't want to go through the whole process anymore, I decided that I'm going to buy a water hose that avoids the water from freezing, so which is fantastic, and that way I don't have to worry about having frozen lines in the middle of the night. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook that up, and we'll give you guys a good feedback on how the experience with this product was. So with winter having shorter days, I figured after I was done with setting up the RV and the campsite, it was gonna get dark. So I ended up getting this amazing construction light that can easily be hooked up to your RV if you have an outlet on the outside of your RV, and it's pretty bright. I mean, it can definitely light up the area that you're trying to work in, or if you're trying to light up the area where you guys are going to be sitting outside while you're cooking. This is a great addition to have to the list of gears you're going to need for your RV. Now, I'm not sponsored by Husky in any way, shape, or form. This is just me recommending an item that works really well. This is completely blazing, and we can start cooking our black bean and beef stew. All right, guys, so while your fire outside is being built up, what you want to do is come inside and cut and chop the ingredients that are needed for your whatever recipe that you're making. Just keep in mind, folks, this isn't a recipe tutorial video. This is just to show you the type of the type of food that I eat when I'm out camping with my wife and I, or when it's just me. All right, so today we're having the beef and black bean stew, and typically, you know, people go with, you know, pre-cut stew meat for this type of recipe. But I decided that I was gonna go ahead with a ribeye. This is the eye of the ribeye, and it's just a much tenderer meat, and it has a little bit of marbling, which adds a lot of flavor to the stew. And I also got a really good deal on it at Safeway. So indeed, this is a grass-fed cut of beef ribeye. All right, guys. I'm also using green chilies and Goya black beans, a fresh tomato, and you know, these are the main ingredients. I'm also going to be using some avocado, shredded cheese, and sour cream, but we'll get to that in a minute. All right, guys. All right, guys, so I just took the stew off the fire, and it's been cooking for about an hour or so. So let's see what we have done over here. Oh, look at that steam. Wow. That is nice and hot. It has a very nice color to it. It's nice and thick. Oh, yummy. Can't wait to try this. Yeah, man, so this is like why I love stews in the wintertime, because it's, you know, relatively easy to make, and it's, you know, you can have a very nice, decent meal that will last you for several meals, actually, you know, just by cooking it once. And it's, you know, it's very easy to store it, especially if you're camping in an RV or even in a tent. You know, like if it's cold out, you can just put it outside, let it, you know, and then when you're ready, you can just warm it up again over a fire. So this is why I love it. But yeah, it looks delicious. So this is black beans. I used a little bit of green chilies, used a little diced up tomatoes, and I used the eye of a beef ribeye. So like, you know, the center of the ribeye cut that has a little bit of fat around it. So, and like I said earlier, this fat really does add a lot of flavor to the stew. Wow, this is really good. It actually turned out really well. The meat is really tender. The broth has a lot of flavor. And you know, it's just all around a perfect dish for this type of weather. But you know, as many of you know, I am a chef. I've owned my own restaurant for 17 years. I've had a food truck for 7 years, and you know, I've cooked for celebrities. I've cooked for famous singers, and I've done all types of weddings and gala dinners, and you name it. And it's crazy. None of those meals that I've cooked, all those fancy dinners that I've put together, none of them come anywhere close to one of these campfire cooking sessions that I have. You know, it's different on a very different level. You know, it's very serene. It's content. I find peace. You know, and especially with everything that we've got going on in this country, I think a little escape like this from time to time is absolutely essential. So I hope you guys are getting out there and enjoying the outdoors, and you're not allowing the pandemic and politics and all this nonsense that's been going on for the last several years. I hope it's not wearing you guys down, and I hope you guys are finding a way to go out there and cope with a lot of these obstacles of life. I'm not trying to preach here. I'm just sharing with you what works for me, the experiences that I have that really works for me and help me meditate and deal with day-to-day life. But thank you guys so much for watching the video, and you know, for continuously supporting the channel. I hope you guys are staying warm, staying safe, and until next time, God bless, and see you in the next video. If you want to continue watching our journey, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Also, follow us on all of our social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.